actually here to intro one of my main men, industry legend. He wouldn't call himself an expert, but with 14 years experience as a mortgage broker and climbing into Australia's top 100 within the first couple of years, also owning two very successful businesses that has scooped up a total of 33 prestigious awards. He must have built some kind of something. So I'd like to call him an expert, even though he won't. Known for saying it as it is, his new drive is sharing his wealth of experience, knowledge, passion for the industry through the business coaching company Success and Broker, and his LVR podcast with more than 2,000 downloads since November last year. Influencing better broker routines and performance, fostering progressive behaviours and innovative strategies is where he funnels his trademark can't put a lid on it strategy and energy, and why he's quickly become one of Australia's top mortgage broking influencers. Outside of business, he loves to play golf, and his all-time favourite movie is Armageddon, and his favourite song is Always Remember Me This Way from A Star Is Born. And on that musical note, let me introduce you to the man himself, Ryan Berger.
Thank you for having me. For starters, just wanted to say big thank you to AFG, Australia Finance Group, for this opportunity to come and share and tell, and also to all the lenders, all the supporters, sponsors that makes these opportunities come to life. I will say this much, I've got a nice North Star here on me, so with the glasses I get a few reflections, so sorry if I go like this, if I just twitch. I do also want to just, before we get started, I just want to share a little bit about success with you. Is it fair to say success means different things to different people? Just show of hand. Show of hands. Good stuff. Well, for starters, I'm going to show you a bit of success. This shirt. So this was chosen by my daughter, and it's got horses galore. She loves horses, and she said, "Puppy, if you want to be successful today, you got to wear that shirt." So what was supposed to be a white shirt turned into a horse shirt. So clearly, this is how we all define successes through our stories. I'll start off by talking about the 10 things. So that's a little bit what I've learned. It's something I've experienced. And going on the journey, one thing I've learned about brokers along the way is we all start at the same place. There is no one broker that I believe has more opportunity than the next. I do still believe it starts off with connections, first and foremost. When you spend time with any one client, any one referral source, can you connect with them? Can you put yourself in a position where they connect with you, where they want to refer you, where they want to sell you? The connections is key. If you think of the Broker Journal, something Carl and myself has built, and I look at just there the 5 C's of mortgage broking, where it's surely on you before: compliance, control, communication, common sense, which, by the way, isn't that common when it comes to clients and to lenders sometimes. But that makes for client engagement. That is the very thing that creates the umbrella effect. Any one of those 4 things break, your client engagement is non-existent. You have to pay attention to what makes us different, and the connection piece is it. Will someone walk away from you and see time for what time was? This was worth it, or this was a waste of my time? And I find it so surprising so many times with brokers when I talk to them. I go to them after you've had your session with a client, that appointment, that building of rapport. Do you ask the client, was this worth your time? And so many over the last, especially 12 months, will go, no, I don't. But you've got to ask. If you don't ask, how do you know? So we have this opportunity to, with the power of words, to make these things count. And that gets me to number 2. Get Googling. So many brokers ask me the question, should I spend money on socials? Should I spend it on Facebook? Should I spend it on Insta? Should I spend it on LinkedIn? What should I do? Google reviews is free. Always have been, and thus far still is. You should use Google reviews. I mean, you just have an opportunity here for your market, for your clientele, to tell the world what a good broker you are. Why not use it? Why not take that opportunity and make it worth more? And if I can give you a tip today, talk about where things works well, for me it's the approval. It's the most happiest time that you're ever going to have, and I'm just going to move a little bit to the middle. It's the most happiest time you're ever going to have in respect of your client engagement. If you think about settlement, which quite a few brokers over the years have asked me, why can't you do it over settlement? Settlement, people are moving properties. People are doing a lot of things. I suggest take the time when it's reflective. And when a loan gets approved, it is one of the best moments to share that moment with that client and go, do you mind doing a review for me? If I text you, by the way, text versus email, text call to action. Best thing you can ever do is text for a Google review to your client. If I can text this to you, do you mind doing this for me today? And I guarantee your strike rate will be through the roof. There's something special about Google reviews. It's not just, if you think about an industry that we're in, we're in an industry of highs and lows. We can't fault that. That's what it is. I mean, high approval, low decline. High can take 5 minutes. Decline can take 2 weeks. How do you create those highs? How do you find those moments to make it count? Google reviews are key, and it is free. And then more to the point, it's a leverage point. You think about referral sources, trying to find referral sources where you have an opportunity to say, don't hear what I'm saying, have a look at what my clients say, go and check out my reviews. What a good place just to set yourself apart from the rest of the market. It gets me to speed. I had a session this morning with a young broker, and we were just talking about the time it takes in respect of appointments. I'm a big believer that whatever you can say in an hour and a half or in an hour, you can say in 45 minutes. And the reality of it is, in 45 minutes, you've got every opportunity to build as strong a connection with a client as you would have had in an hour or an hour and a half. And here's the benefit of that. Most brokers go, but how do I find more time to see more people? That is it. Power 45. 45 minutes should be ample enough to get you through it. I'm going to give you a quick run just on that. 5 C's of lending. I still believe it should come back. I believe the 5 C's of lending is key to what makes our lives a lot easier. So, first 15 minutes, make it 10 minutes. Capital and capacity. What can they and can't they do? Next 10, 15 minutes. Character. What makes you a good borrower? Why should the bank lend you the money? Last 10, 15 minutes. Conditions. Collateral. What can influence this position for you to get the finance? It is that simple if you put a speed proposition to it in respect of covering off on everything and remaining compliant in your delivery. But more to the point, clients come to you because they believe you know what you're doing, they believe you're good at what you're doing, so there is no reason for you to take that opportunity and not milk it for what it's worth. I'll go one step further. If you now think about having those things, think about where your lead flow comes from. I don't think there's a better proposition than having a real estate agent on account and telling this prospect, hey, I suggest you go and see, I'm just going to say, I see young Hamish in front of me, I suggest you go and see Hamish. And in 45 minutes, he'll be in a position to tell you what he can and can't do. He'll tell you what your lending ceiling is, he'll tell you what type of funds you need. These teams are what make that sell so easy. They are what give you the whole opportunity not to have to sell differently. So you've got accountants, you've got planners. And if I can give you a thought process today, every contract that lands on your table is a true referral opportunity. The real estate, that is your mutual, is that opportunity to call and start a relationship. Too many times we just focus on the client and the client experience. How do we get this from go to woe? How do we get this approved? There is a real estate agent there. There is an accountant half the time if it's self-employed. There is a planner if there is certain lending capacities in respect of insurances. All of these things is your opportunities, the community. And I will say this too, if you think about your community and your support that you give there, make sure you're part of the community if you want the community to support you. I've seen so many people spending money, sponsoring this, sponsoring the other thing, but then don't do anything else and then go, sponsorships doesn't work. Sponsorships work if there's an intent. It doesn't work at all if there's none. So my humble opinion is when you choose your team, ensure that you choose those type of people that you have interest in, people that reflect your identity, your character. Be a storyteller. I find it so surprising over the years with brokers when they say, I don't think the credit analyst gets it. The credit analyst hasn't met your client. You've met your client. The credit analyst can only go on what you have given in respect of an impromptu proposition. This is what they want to do. This is where they want to get. Tell the story. Let the credit assessor buy into it. Every opportunity for us to get a deal approved, to have a one-touch, to have a straight-through process, only comes because we're good at telling stories. We are not there to tick boxes as much as we are first there to give anyone comfort in respect of the lending proposition. Again, it gets me to this point where I've always said, very early in the piece I got asked by a head of credit, if it's your money, would you lend it? Now, I was 26 at the time, and since then, as long as I've been a broker, it was always where I went first and foremost. If it is my money, would I lend it? If the chances are that I'm not going to be comfortable, how can you expect the lender to be? So it's a good way to start and go, am I wasting my time here? Am I flogging a dead horse? Or am I having an opportunity here? Am I doing the right thing? Stepping up. I love this one. I think when we talk about showing up so much in broking, and we talk about stepping up, for me personally, one of the success stories is stepping up, being better, your best version. We talk about fighting days in our business, and I don't know if Hammer can remember, but it was a big thing for us to choose the days that we really engage with our clients, those days when we can compare notes. And then we talk about the non-fighting days. Those are the days where you can catch up, you can do business development, you can do a lot of things. What I love so much about a fighting day is you almost preposition yourself that if I'm feeling a bit off today, I still need to be on. And I need to be on for the client because the client deserves it. The client has given their time, they've given the presence of being there. You've got to make it your best. You really have to take that opportunity and milk it for what it is worth. And you've got to really make sure with your conversations you have with these clients, in the respect of stepping up, what do you leave them with? If they were to leave your office today, or you were to leave them Zoom, Teams, whatever it may be, what do you leave them with? So for me, with this, it was always the working for versus the working with. So if you think about that first 45 minutes, we work with someone. This is the time I'm willing to give for free. I've never been a fan of the word giving for free. But that is the time I'll work with you. I'll tell you what you can and can't do. You'll know your ceiling, you know what funds you need, you know the proposal that we can assess, you know the banks that we're going to look at. Those are the things that I will leave you with. From there, if you love the proposal, you can make a conscious decision for us to start working for you. Now, working for you is going pillar to post. That's having our commitment, our connection, our input. That gives you now that opportunity for someone to go, I'd love for you to work for me. Two things will happen, and I guarantee you this much. One, they connect. Two, they trust. And these two things together, like it or loathe it, but it's called clawback. They happen less when you have those two things. When people start working for you, or you working for them, when they trust, when they connect, clawbacks is less existent. Because if there is a clawback, the guarantee is the chances are you writing it. Because they've come back to you. They've come and talked to you. Purposeful. Every time you talk to a client, remember that our clients becomes our best referral source. I've always said there's two types of things that you need to remember about a referral. If people refer you on rate, they refer you on speed, and they refer you on rate, on a good job. Those are the three things. The issue with such a referrer is that if anyone else gives them a better rate, if anyone else gives them something faster, do a better job, there's every opportunity that you at the end of the day have lost that client. So you've got to get people to sell you. Why do people sell you? People sell you because they trust you. So how do you get people to trust? Value. Have you delivered value? Have you asked the question? Let people tell you, this was quite valuable. It's usually the best indication whether you are on the right track. Know who you serve. Now, guys, I'm going to go through these because if there's any questions today, I would love to hear them and I would love to share. But know who you serve. There's this thing, and I hear it so many times in our industry, and I'm not saying there's a right or wrong. I do believe there's a better and there's a worse. But so many people talk about customers. Now, customers for me is quite transactional. It's about just getting one thing done. If you think about our business, if you think about our proposition, we are about longevity. Clients are about longevity. Clients are about relationships. Clients are about connections. If I can get you in a position where at the end of the day, every one of my clients gives me at least another 1 or 2 people that they will refer to me, that they sell my services to. Think about having 100 clients on your book. Straight away you have 300. Now I guarantee you today, having 300 clients is a number. That's every opportunity for you to, 1, be sustainable, and 2, to keep growing. So if you think about who you serve, ensure that you sell who you are serving. We used to tell clients, we said to them, to us it's clients. Our business is after clients, we're not after customers. We made it sure. Why? Because the next person that sells our services sell us as a client engager, not as a customer engager. We're not there for the transaction. We're there for the long haul. But you've got to get your clients to understand what your proposition looks like and why you do what you do. Love the game. This opportunity, this industry can sometimes get quite lonely. It can get harsh. It can get tough at many opportunities. I'm a big believer that at the end of the day, we're dealing with people. We've got to find the fun in what we do. We've got to pay attention. We've got to see the moments that makes us feel good when we engage with clients. So if I'm saying just in respect of love the game, you've got to make it look like you at least enjoy it. You know, at the end of the day, people deal with people, and people will refer people. But if you are just sitting and saying, hey, what can I do for you? Versus at the end of the day, truly buying into their story, buying into their proposition, giving them every opportunity to connect with you. That only happens because we, at the end of the day, love the game. We talk about it, we talk it up, we concentrate on what we're selling, we're paying attention, we are present, leave the phone outside, make sure the phone isn't there, turn the emails off. Why? Because in that 45 minutes, I'm working with you, I'm present, I'm going to do the best by you. We've got to make sure people understand how you see this industry and what you see, what your value is to them. I mean, I would love for someone to be at a barbecue and say, hey, you got to go and see Rowan. He's just amazing. He cares, do this. And they go, what rate did he get you? Oh, shit. We didn't get to that. I'm not too sure. But I really do believe he cares. I think did he get you a cashback offer? Oh, mate, we haven't even spoken about it. We really concentrated about what he can do for me, the growth that's going to come, the input that he's going to give over time. We've got to be so careful about selling certain things that we then replace to become the valuable talk. I mean, rates and cashback offers, it just makes no sense to me why you would sell it. And if you say, well, every other broker sell it, then even more reason for you not to. Think about it. If every other broker is selling rates and every other broker is selling cashback, stop selling it, because you're sounding then just like every other broker. And I don't believe you have to. The reality of it is, if you had to sell it, then we will have it with every lender, and we don't. So there is no reason for you to tell me we have to. What we have to is love the game. We've got to give something that others can't give. 7 out of 10 people come to a broker. What makes you better than the next? What makes you more appealing than the next? 10 out of 10 for me is a good start. I love this one. It was the first time I heard it was from Kylie in teaching, and it's about giving everyone 10 out of 10. If you go into every session, that any engagement you have with anyone, giving them full points, leaving nothing off the table, committing, connecting, entertaining, the chances are you give them every opportunity to become vulnerable. You give them every opportunity to want to work with you. I love at the end of the day when I talk about the 10 out of 10, and I used to say to a client, I'm going to do everything for you. I'm going to go beyond. You know, if you ask me to work for you, I'm going to go beyond what I need to do to make sure in this relationship you see the value and you want to refer me to your friends, your circle of influence. I used to say to them circle of influence because I love the term where we're talking here about who's the people that influence you. Those are the people I want to talk to. And imagine when you give someone 10 out of 10, how easy it is to do the same. How easy it is for them to do the same for you. We talk about where we're in a position that we can change people's lives. Have you ever thought about the capacity the authority that has been given to us as an industry here today. We held an opportunity to build legacy. Have you ever thought, take today, 2022, 15 years from now, take the next 150 names, take the first 150 names of clients on your book. Read through them. I would be very surprised if you can remember more than 20 of them, especially if you have a good lead flow, good opportunity to write deals. When you have those moments, I'll be very surprised if you can remember every 20 to 30 of them like as in yesterday. Why? Because the more people you help, you move on. You start writing more. It becomes a rhythm. And a rhythm is the best thing in broking. Let me tell you something. When you get on that rhythm, you want to stay on that rhythm. Have you ever thought the flip side of that coin? If you go to those 100 people, 100, 150, and you ask them, what do you think about Ruan? Geez, he changed my life. If it wasn't for him. That's legacy. This is what this represents. This whole industry, this whole market, who we are, is we are legacy brokers. We're the very people that changes people's lives. That is our success. And it's not just a success story. That is a proposition for success. It doesn't stop with us. This industry will keep on reinvesting, doing what is better by clients, what is stronger for clients. We're on such an awesome opportunity to be part of something spectacular, something great. We just need to understand our success. We need to understand what we mean to clients. I've given you those 10, and I'll share with you how you've got to think, and I'll leave you with this one today. Think about real estate. I love real estate. I always believe real estate is the best referral source you'll ever get. And if it doesn't work for you, it is time. Time is what makes real estate better than anything that I know. You've got to give it the time, like any other referral source for that matter. But you think of real estate, one thing they've done better than most, they simplified. So they took the complex and made it simple, and from there they became quite compelling in their proposition. Prospect, list, sell. Prospect, list, sell. That's all you have to do. Doesn't matter who you are. If you come into real estate and you can do those 3 things, you'll be successful. And they've proven it to be true. Now imagine us when we reverse engineer this and we go to real estate and say, hey, we found a similar proposition. Appointment, application, approval. Appointment, application, approval. Now what I need from you, Mr. Real Estate, is to help me start selling the appointment, because where I get the appointment, I have an opportunity for the application. Where I have the application, opportunity for the approval. How fantastic is that? Why? Because you only get paid if we get the deal approved, let alone settle. And now I'm going to go one step further and I say, Mr. Real Estate, imagine every time I have an appointment, if I was to have the opportunity to see what this client represents, and if they do have a property to sell, I will do my best within the parameters of compliance to see if I can get you a listing appraisal. Can I give you the opportunity to go out and do a listing appraisal or presentation? You can understand the value now to the real estate, because never doubt their currency. We understand ours. We know the value we give. We know the support we do. We know everything we do about ours. Do we understand theirs? Their currency is selling property. And if that is their currency, not hard for us to influence and to support that currency. I want to thank you so much today for giving me the opportunity, but I do want to go to the floor, and I'm very thoughtful of time, because having the graveyard shift, I'm happy people are here still to come and enjoy, but the same token, I also know from here there's myself standing between you and a drink. And I never thought, when I was a broker, that's the last place. I've always said, shit, I'm never going to be that bloke. So, and here I stand today, I am that bloke. So I don't want to take any more of your time, but I wanted to put it just to the table, just for the next 3 minutes. I've got 10 minutes, 19, 18. It sounds like self-destruction. I've got this many minutes available. Is there any questions from your end? Being a broker first and a coach second, there's things that I can relate to, frustrations, concerns you have. Anything you wanted to, anything you want to bring up? Any questions? I'll start here. Yes, sir.
So, what is the best way, or what methods do you use to try and maximise your real estate office opportunities?
So for starters, it starts with 1, and 1 becomes 2, and 2 becomes 3. Always choose one person that I resonated and related with. If that person was value to me, I'll take that person to a lunch and I'll say, who in the office here else do you believe would be a good fit? And I'll let that person sell it, because there's already one that likes me. So it's much easier from that person to sell my services than it is from myself. The same thing happened with real estate sales meetings. I always enjoyed going to a sales meeting and having a story to tell and using one of the agents in that particular office to share the story of a deal we've just saved or a very swift application in respect of approval, and getting that person to tell the story. Why? Because they're in the ditch together. They work together, they trust together, everything for them. They rather listen to that agent than they would listen to me, especially early days. So for me personally, Hamish, if you have this one person that likes you, a good old lunch, and nothing beats a lunch, then bringing someone with. Someone that they believe is similar to them because you already like them, and secondly, can connect with you. And 1 becomes 2 and 2 becomes 3. And that's how the numbers work. You only need 3 or 4 in an office to be successful, by the way. That's it. 3 to 4 agents in an office for success. That's it. Helps? Good stuff. Yes, sir.
How do you manage if you get an inflow of leads or referrals, how do you manage the waves that come in sometimes? Because in today's environment, I guess, where the numbers of brokers and going like that, we're finding sometimes we get a wave that comes in and, no shortcuts, How do you manage that?
So we never pre-qualified. We always did appointments because we're in the business, well, in my opinion, I've always said we're in the business of connections. So loans are only a byproduct of the connection we can ascertain. So our fighting days, for argument's sake, for myself, it was Mondays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays. Those are the days I'll fully book with appointments. Tuesdays and Fridays, I didn't take any appointments. And that was just to make sure if there is that influx, I've got days that I can work on things. But what I also find is, as I said to you with the Power of 45, we got really good on those fighting days at really running faster through with clients, because the more loans you do, the more you quickly realize that lending isn't that hard. The hard part for most brokers is finding referral sources nowadays, and it will be back at that very soon, is getting that referrals to come in. But lending itself, if you're going to do 10 or 15 appointments every week, the chances are very quickly, lending is not your nemesis. It's not what holds you back. And if you think about having 5 appointments in one day, you're selling very similar things. And you think about time. So I've always been a big believer we sell time. Was it worth your time or was it a waste of your time? So for me, having those fighting days and really hone in on those days to just go through things is what really gave us a lot of time back. And for some, it's 2 versus 3.
So was your process where you did interviews and you pass off the transaction to the back office?
Okay. I don't want to talk so much about mine because I was maybe a little bit lazier at that stage than most of my brokers. But if you think of our brokers, that was their job to do. They won't do anything for any one particular prospect till that prospect comes back and say, okay, I want you to work for me. And if that particular prospect came back and said, I want you to work for me, then they will do the recommendation. They'll have a good idea by that stage what a recommendation may look like. And then from there, the back office took over, or what we called our credit analyst. Yeah. And again, I've heard of different systems, guys. Now, I can't talk for anyone else. I can only talk for myself. And maybe I'm a little bit of a compliance freak certain ways. But I never understood why a broker will pass everything on for someone else to do it. I think at the end of the day, if I'm the one that owned that connection, I want to be the one to have those conversations. I want to be the one to be able to entertain that conversation. If a client comes back and say, why this? Well, if I'm the one that haven't done the work, it's a little bit sometimes hard to say, why this? Because I'm selling what someone else has put in front of me. So I'm still a big believer, till such time that a broker chooses the lender of choice, only then I believe a broker will in a position to pass it on. But that was just my thought process. Does that help?
Yeah. I guess the challenge we've got is the time it takes from passing on, identifying who the lender is, doing the deal, the time from that point in time to actually approval has obviously blown out with, in the last probably 12 months, 2 years.
Yeah. And again, I can only speak for our business. With our brokers, it didn't seem to take that long, because imagine if a broker every day is going to do the assessment in respect of these other lenders we're looking at. You become quite good at it. I mean, at most times, and again, just my experiences, we had about 10 lenders that we constantly gave business to. Yes, you could have others, but a lot of times it fitted with about 10. And as a broker, when you've got that RMs on speed dial and you're very quick at making your calls. It's going to be this lender, 1, either timelines, 2, policy, 3, tenure in respect of employment history, etc., and that influenced that deal one way or another.
Okay, so as a broad statement, how many deals a week would you say your capacity for, or another broker?
So I did 15 to 18 appointments a week. And I mean, it's the luck of the draw, because sometimes those weeks comes off and sometimes they don't, because we didn't do any pre-qualification. But if you think of the X factor in our business at the time when I ended up selling, it was about 8 to 10 for most of our brokers. 8 to 10 appointments. And the businesses I'm currently working with, the X factor is 5 appointments a week minimum. So most of their brokers will do 5 appointments every week. And we find with those brokers, one of them in Toowoomba settled 4.3 mil, which is a lot smaller loan size, and it puts it in perspective for you that it is now driving activity versus anything else. Helped?
Yep.
Cool. Yep.
Now you've had a chance to work with some of the biggest and best businesses across Australia. What do you see in those that are good versus those that are great? Is there a couple of things that those that are great do really well and consistently over those that are just okay?
Cool. I'll conclude with this because there's 2 minutes left on the clock, and I know I'm the guy between the drinks. I think it's the funny part for me is working with these big businesses, and you're talking with having brokers between 20 and 30 brokers in their businesses already. One thing I found is you can't fault them. They've done clearly something right because they write volume and they do it well and they do it consistently. However, it is a bit of a Titanic in many ways. When you want to change lanes, when you want to change direction, the ship turns very, very slow. One thing I love with small to medium-paced businesses is that they can influence a lot quicker. They can change lanes a lot quicker, which means if the market changes on them, they can change with the market. They can become quite adaptable and adoptable. And if you think about it, change is the only constant in this market for us. So I find with these bigger businesses, I mean, I'm working with one now, they're changing to the 5-minute call to book an appointment and the 45-minute appointment. And this is a business running big volume, because if we've learned anything again, business came to us too freely, too quickly, too easily. We're now going back into a market where you're going to have to work a little bit for that business. So whilst in a market that you've got to work, are you just a loan writer? Or are you, at the end of the day, a connector? And I believe this business is ripe for connections. Every time you sit with one particular person, there should be at least another 2 referrals in it. The real question is, are you asking? Because if you're not asking, they are not giving. And if they are giving, that's luck of the draw. That will be 1 out of 10. Those numbers, the data has proven that once many a time. So I believe in a market like it is today, the best part about those businesses, if they've proved anything to us, there's a growth in abundance. There's nothing holding any of us back to go there, but success means different things for different people. So I suggest stay in your lane, but start fighting for the connection, making sure you are telling better stories, not one just to your clients, but also to the lenders. I will finish with this, and there's 9 seconds left. I'll finish with this. When I had my business, I started going to banks and I said to them, I want to become the 5 to 5 broker. So do I want with our company. 5 minutes to 5, if the credit assessor has got one deal to choose from, I want them to pick up a time home loans deal. I want them to have every comfort to know that there's every opportunity in the next 5 minutes that deal can get approved. But when you start saying things like that, you've got to live it, you've got to breathe it, and you've got to deliver. That's the key. So for us, I love a challenge, but I also love to put myself out there to go and deliver then, because I'm now holding myself accountable. Nothing better than that. Guys, I want to thank you for your time, and I will now step out and you guys can go drinking.